What's going on, comic fam? It's your boy, the Bearded Comic Bro, and I am joined again by my boy, I Am Boof, and we are bringing you guys another episode of Craft and Comics.
Really two of the best things going, right? Like the two best hobbies to be into. I would say right now, ever probably.
You can't, especially in the midst of quarantine, you're still going to have
Absolutely.
comics, you're still going to have beers, so
Yep.
it's a good day. So, with that being said, we are going to jump into some awesome topic today. We are talking beards. We're talking the top best beards in the comic game. And my boy Boof and I are sporting some good styles of our own. So, hey, let's talk comics.
Better put the word out. Get ready for the nerd out. Better put specs on. Better break necks on. I cut handsome checks for my expansion sets. They call me Obi-Wan. Act like you know me, son.
So, what's up, comic fam? So, Boof, what are you drinking today to get us?
I busted out a pickup from last weekend. Local brewery, Widowmaker, out of Braintree, Massachusetts. They did a convenient zero contact pickup. Super awesome consideration for what's going on in the world. This is Triple Ecstasy, a triple diesel hot bomb of an IPA. We got, pretty standard, dank IPA, unfiltered. You get those tropical notes. It's not a juice bomb though. I mean, you've seen the New England style IPAs. That's the latest trend. I mean, that started in and around here, but this is not that. Yes, it has those juicy notes. It has those fruit notes, but you get a lot of grassy, hay, kind of really earthy backbone to that as well. You can taste the cracker malts in it. Just fantastic. And drinking out of my beard brewing glass.
The only glass ready for that. I mean, let's go. Man, that sounds fantastic. So I'm going to break beer code today, and I'm actually going to drink out of a can because I want to showcase this can because it's a thing of beauty. So this is called Brewdog is the company. They're based out of here in Columbus, Ohio is their main distribution. They actually started in Scotland. And
there was a TV show, I think.
Yeah, they have a beer TV show. They have a beer network. They did the first ever beer hotel here in Columbus. My wife and I went for our anniversary. They have a beer keg that hooked up in the shower in your room. Your room outlooks the Sour Brewery facility, so you just see kegs. The campus is amazing. But this is one of their hazy their IPAs, and it is called Sonic Temple. And what this is actually there's a music festival here in May called Sonic Temple, big rock festival. So we're talking Tool was going to be here. We're talking Red Hot Chili Peppers. So they brewed it all for this. They brewed it. They were going to sell Sonic Temple beer at Sonic Temple Festival in the midst of quarantine. Now the festival's been canceled. So I think they put all their Sonic Temple beers in the local store, so they were easy to grab, which was fantastic. So
very cool.
But yeah, so it is but it's your New England IPA, and it gets all your same type of stuff what you're talking about, the same type of aroma. You get your tropical notes, but it's not. Brewdog's known for, they have a one called Elvis Juice, which is a pineapple IPA, and so you get more of that, and it's delicious. But this is a little bit more, you just get little notes of it. So
nice.
Good. So we're talking comics, we're talking beer, but we're talking beards in comics. And Boof, tell me what you are rocking here, my friend.
Well, I am rocking what, for decades has been known as the Hulk Hogan. Up until like 4 weeks ago, there have been suggestions that it's also the Joe Exotic. I can't say it's not very similar. A little more robust like Hogan's. I'm growing it out. This is about 4 weeks of growth. This is my quarantine facial hair effort. It's going to get a little thicker, and the end game is cutting off the sides. I'm going to do the Raleigh fingers. I'm going to wax it up on the sides, do those tight curls, looking like I'm a 1940s man that owns a haberdashery.
As you should. As you should. So, man, that's a thing of beauty.
I appreciate that. Well, I mean, come on, we're talking beards. I just have, a glorified mustache. You got the real deal.
So yeah, man, this has been growing. Usually I keep it more trimmed up, tamed a little bit. But I've been saying, come quarantine, I'm not going to. But I still I got my comb. I got my beard oil I use. Right.
Excellent. I also use some oil. Even with the thick stash, you got to keep it smooth.
Yeah. This is none other than some Counterman, so it's actually pretty dope. My wife sells product for a side hustle, and they do all natural stuff. And she's like, "They got beard oil. I'm gonna get you some." I'm like, okay, buy me all the beard oil you want. So awesome. Hey, Comic Fam, if you need some gifts for your wife because Mother's Day is coming up and you're in quarantine, hit me up. We'll get you guys some product.
Or for all those ladies who collect books as well, because there are plenty of them. Get your man some of that oil. There's going to be a link, I hope.
Oh, sure. I'll put that in. Oh, man.
Excellent.
Absolutely. You guys support my wife's business, and this will just support the fund. So
you got to fill those gaps in the collection.
That's right. But, man, we're going to stay a little focused because me and Booth get a chance. We kind of go off a little bit. So we've been talking for, 10 minutes, and we haven't hit comics yet. So I think it's time to hit them with, man, who's first up on our beard list of dopest beards in comics?
Well, not just first up. I think maybe just like at the top.
All right.
We agree, like without question.
Right.
Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow.
Let's go. Yes.
The man rocks a mustache, then he does a goatee, then he's got a full-blown beard, but he does it all so well. And you can tell he grooms that. Like, it curls up on the end. Like, it's always tight. Even when he's looking like kind of come back from the dead homeless, his beard is on point. And he has given it up, I believe, only once when the DC Universe rebooted itself after Flashpoint. Clean-shaven, like young Oliver Queen. And that lasted for a couple of years.
And people are like, bring back the beard. He's got that.
Absolutely.
The old school where he's got that point a little bit, which they've been bringing that into it now. I think it was Vent Leviathan series where they had the team up with Batman and Green Arrow, and that was dope. And they brought back that point beard, and it's clean. Yeah, even on this this beautiful issue of Green Arrow #2, where he looks like a homeless, haggard man. Mm-hmm. That's still clean shit. That's
his beard is tight.
That's kept up nice.
I mean, he's got to take an arrow tip and like kind of shave down the sides, and he's good.
It's like he's in rags in the first issue, but his beard's on point, and I'm like, that's my type of guy. Like,
absolutely,
he's got to be homeless, but he's still rocking that dope beard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man!
But there's a lot of other people on the list too. A lot of notable, iconic facial hair. The Stranges. I say Stranges.
Not one, but
two. We both doctors.
Both doctors.
We have Stephen, the master of the mystic arts. Iconic. Oftentimes, more often than not, connecting goatee, real thin. Sometimes the stash. Sometimes the call it a non-connecting goatee, just creeping up the sides. Always tight, always managed. And then we got
my man, my favorite, Mr. Hugo Strange.
Yeah, maniacal villain Hugo Strange. That almost, I've seen some pictures of him. It kind of looks like a piece of metal. Like it's an angry beard. It's tight. It's sharp.
It's so good. And I like it because he's one of the few bald men who has a beard. So there's a few things I can cosplay as. But man, I'll tell you what, he is one of the, I want to say B-list, but he's not main roster, so like A-list, like who you would think about with Batman. But his first appearance has got to be the hardest first appearance to get.
Really?
Yeah, because he had a first appearance, I believe it was in Detective Comics when Batman was first introduced. But then I know his first appearance in the Batman series was Batman #1. So.
Oh, okay.
So, and then they don't use him again for I think it was 25 years. So his Silver Age issue is pretty easy. decent to get. I think it's in Detective Comics in the 400s there. But man, like that's always tough. I'm like, Hugo's my boy, and I can't ever get that because I'm never gonna own a Batman one.
Just like not bearded, but Doctor Strange's first appearance. The issue escapes me of Strange Tales, but that's the first appearance of Nightmare. You know, everyone wants to get in on Nightmare because of the rumors in the multiverse and the new movie, but
Yeah.
because it's Strange's first appearance too. It kind of it messes with fans because you want to grab that hot villain
Right.
or collect your B-list character, but turns out it's the A-list hero's first appearance too.
Boom. Podcast idea, another episode. What are some B-list characters that you are not going to be able to get because they're also in a key with an A-list? Man, that'll be some good stuff. So
Next time.
So we
Let
got
us know, what do you guys want us to talk about? We really we are knowledgeable people of the hobby. We will talk about anything and then we'll talk about some other stuff, as you can see.
and even if it's something we don't know, we'll act like we know it and we'll
Mhm.
still talk about it. So it'll be
Absolutely.
great.
We will make it up so well that you will think we are tremendously informed on the topic.
You know, I'm gonna just throw out this real quick. This Doctor Strange, since you brought up Doctor Strange, I'm supporting it. I'm not even a Marvel guy through and through, but and you can see that right there.
That's a sick cover.
So this is the new series done by Mark Waid,
Mhm.
who big fan of his stuff.
Same
So
here.
when I saw he was doing it, I was like, yes, let's go. So we've got Oliver, we've got the Strangest. Who's next?
How about Tony Stark, Iron Man himself?
Ooh,
Very similar to Stephen Strange, has oftentimes rocked that really tight, thin goatee or a really managed mustache. I think that was popular and pretty much throughout the 80s.
right.
But he's always gotten something. I can't remember him being clean shaven really ever.
Has he been clean shaven? If he has, let us know in the comments because I can't remember. Man, that'd be one of our guys to hit up in the group. We got a couple big Iron Man fans in our crew.
And then here's him on a bad day.
Ooh-wee.
A Demon in a Bottle, just really one of the best Iron Man storylines. Man coming to terms with his demons, which is that appropriate to bring up alcoholism on Crafting Comics? Just hey,
I
drink
mean,
responsibly.
It sounds like he had a rough go of a Crafting Comics issue.
Absolutely. And he wasn't even drinking craft. He was drinking like bottom shelf whiskey in front of a mirror and just looking
Right.
at the demons.
Yeah, that's an iconic cover too.
Absolutely.
Pretty not easy to get, but not hard to get if you're craving it. It's not too bad of on your wallet. So
No, if you want to throw a couple of bucks in a mid-level key,
Yeah.
you can absolutely afford that on a budget.
man, Iron Man's one of those characters you could talk about too, of like how the MCU really elevated him to
Oh, absolutely.
a level that, I mean, Infinity Wars, he's not even on the cover of that. You got
Mhm.
he's like on the backside because they're like,
Correct.
oh, we'll throw in this Iron Man character.
Yep. And then boom. But I mean, it's not like he was lacking for any good stories.
Right.
There's plenty, but people forget. People who maybe are attracted because of the movies and they maybe look at the origins. There's plenty of good stuff. 70s, 80s, early 90s. And I could even say that for most of the characters. People getting turned on to Batman by the Christian Bale movies. You look back at some of the 90s Nightfall era stuff, even before that, before Bane and Azrael, lots of good stuff that you can probably dig out of dollar bins. Like I'd say chances are any issue you grab is going to be a fun read. Not
Right.
necessarily the best story, but the art is solid, like greats like Jim Aparo, Nora
Yep.
Brayfogle, just really fun, sometimes campy stuff.
Yep, and you gotta love it, man. Man, such a solid list so far. Solid list.
Absolutely. Who else? We've gone through a couple of heroes. I think we might have some villains on there.
I think we do.
I believe you would be best to speak to this, being the number one Batman fan, Ra's al Ghul.
Ooh-wee. Man, that is on point. I'll tell you what, he rocks it. Even when they introduced him into into the cinematic universe. They
Mhm.
still had Liam Neeson had that beard, and
It was exact. What is it? A beard? It's like a mustache that fell down his face.
yes. So it's dope facial hair that. So yeah, I mean, it is good, and man, anything that Ra's al Ghul is in is just a good read. It and it took me a while to get in, but man, when Neil Adams got onto those books with him,
Mhm.
he brought that character to life.
He's
I
a
mean, well, he
smart
literally
man.
brought it to life because he helped create it. But yeah, man, that one is on point for sure. And I think it's a very iconic. I mean, we're talking about some iconic looks here, and you show that to most any comic fan, and they're like, I know what that is.
Absolutely. In fact, if you were to go to a con and cosplay as one of those individuals and not be rocking at least a drawn-on aspect of that facial hair, you didn't do it, and people are going to call you out for that.
Oh yeah, as they should.
Well, I mean, the Batman himself.
People are going to be watching this video and going, Batman does not rock a beard, but there is one time in particular that we were just talking about, and it's such an epic beard that literally it is one issue of the run of the series where he's rocking this beard, and we're like, it's that good, we're putting it on this list.
And he
what
looks bad. Oh, he looks bad.
and what series is that?
That is Legends of the Dark Knight, the Venom story arc, which, any fans of Bane these days, Bane from Nightfall, you know him from Secret Six, more recently Tom King's City of Bane.
Right.
But Bane would not exist if not for that Venom story, because this story focuses on Batman not being able to save a little girl trapped under rubble in a sewer because he was not strong enough. He's not Superman. He is just a man, and he couldn't lift the boulder, and the kid died, which is a bummer. That story really hit people.
Yeah.
So then it turns into, how do I get better? It's a substance abuse story. It's crazy, and how a man grapples with his own demons because he was dependent on a drug to improve himself. Like, it is heavy reading. It's a lot of fun, but the material is big for comics.
And it's big too, because correct me if I'm wrong, that Denny O'Neil was behind that one.
Absolutely.
And I mean, he was getting, because he was early on and really changing the Batman game with Neil Adams early on.
Correct.
And so he was on this one. And what's so crazy about this is, because this also was, I think, Legend was actually one of the first solo Batman series that wasn't in the Batman volume. I think it was one of his first actually Batman titles that they branched out of, that they were talking about in the 90s.
It was the third Batman series ever, I believe.
Okay, yeah. I knew it was something like that. And what's crazy, I actually we were talking about this list, and I reread that issue, and now that issue is a cover goal for me, because he's just sitting, and you'll see this in the picture, he's just sitting in the chair, swoop down, beard better than mine on point. And what's crazy then is in the story, it literally is only for a panel, because he locks himself in the Batcave and is like, I'm going to try and deal with this, and I'm not even going to tell you what happens, but when he comes out, obviously 30 days locked in the Batcave, dude, his beard is all just there in its glory. And it literally is 6 panels, and that's it.
Absolutely.
It's that dope that we had to put it on this list.
It looks so badass. I mean, Batman,
God.
Is one of the best superheroes ever. And, I may be a little presumptuous in saying this, facial hair just kind of makes a man look a little more badass.
Listen, the amount of people that have not wanted to mess with me just because of my beard, and I wouldn't hurt a fly, and they're like,
I'd say at least in the high teens, at least.
And I keep asking you because I'm a bad host, and I don't have my list up on my computer. So
it's all good. Let me see who's on the list. Well, perhaps another one that people may not be aware of, Frank Castle, the Punisher.
dipping our toes back in the Marvel world.
Yeah. we did a lot, and I'm pretty, make mine Marvel guy,
Yep,
but that's
you
because
are.
my DC books are in storage. I haven't been able to show the DC love. I've got plenty of it, but this one beard in particular is special for me because it was the first time that had ever been shown on a regular basis. And you got to think, this is a dude that lives on the run. He lives out of vans. He's pretty much sleeping in boxes, yet he's always clean shaven every time you see him. But not during the Greg Rucker run. During this run, he had a really bad run-in with, like, I don't know, the second, third, or fourth Vulture. And it was like the first Vulture to ever have like actual superpowers. He's like this mutant bird guy. It was,
Yeah.
it was a fun villain, and he tore up Frank's face. Like, he messed his eye up. And for I think the first 4 or 5 issues in the series, the Punisher actually did not say a word. Rucker wrote the entire story with little to no dialogue from, the Punisher, and then secondary characters speaking very little. And then he just goes and throws this in the mix. I mean, this is Mario Giacchetto's amazing work right here. And here's the Punisher, just bloody against a brick wall. You see the awesome bloody skull over there, and just rocking that beard with an eye patch with the gun pointed right at your face.
So good.
I mean, if the Punisher wasn't a massive force of fear and terror to everybody, throw a beard on the man and take away his eye, and then that makes it worse.
Man, I'll tell you what, though, now that you're talking about it, man, it makes it even more scary that he doesn't have a beard, because that guy is just taking one of those big knives and just like,
Absolutely.
Like,
because what you're sleeping in a van, he doesn't, pick up a Schick XL at the local store.
No.
He's just cutting it off with his crazy knives.
no.
All right, so we're more than halfway through the list.
All right, okay.
A really easy one. I know you've seen it. You know who he is, Thor. Not just Thor Odinson,
Right.
but second Thor, Eric Masterson, when Thor got banished into Mephisto's realm, and then he was Thor, but he wasn't Thor, and then Eric became Thunderstrike, and then the real Thor came back. Anyway, I mean, come on. He's a Viking legend god.
Right.
Of Norse mythology, the Norsemen, who pretty much, if you couldn't grow a beard, I'm pretty sure you weren't allowed in, like,
You weren't allowed to be in.
Thor just looks more amazing with a beard. He looks more threatening, and it's what he should have all the time. I believe he did have it in the War of the Realms. Odin has it. Old Thor was rocking a beard. It's just he looks better with it.
Oh yeah, Thor without a beard doesn't look right.
He doesn't look terribly threatening, and dare I say, he shouldn't even be worthy of the hammer.
Yeah, I said it. I said do it. Dare
Excellent.
say it. Put it out there in the ethos.
Well, we've had enough Marvel. Maybe we revisit DC with one of probably second to Green Arrow, my favorite DC beard, Aquaman. I mean, how bold do you have to be to grow something that thick and massive underwater? You imagine the stuff that gets in that?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, as someone, it feels fantastic when you're swimming through the water.
Absolutely, it does. I remember those days.
It feels fantastic, and that is what Peter David's run, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The 90s run, immediately preceding 0 Hour. He had long hair.
Yep.
And there's a crossover that doesn't get enough cred. 0 Hour was amazing.
It was in 94's version of trying to be like Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Absolutely. And it was
I literally picked up
well done.
all. I think there's 5 because I think there's issue 0 and then there's 4 issues. I picked all 5 at a Half Price Books dollar bin.
Nice.
Like for nothing. But
And
yeah, that was
numbering too. That was fun. And this may be a disputed fact, but I believe issue 0 could be considered the first blank cover.
Ooh.
Remember, it was nothing. It had the silver logo, and that was it.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting because this was when you're right in the primo of comic books in the mid 90s where they're like, we're the Monster Energy drink of comic books. Like, it's hardcore. Like, because I think it was either end of issue 1 or beginning of issue 2 is when Aquaman gets his hand fed to some piranhas. Issue 2. Okay.
The villain Charybdis,
yep.
based on Greek mythology, I believe, takes control of the piranhas and forces Aquaman's hand in the water, and they chew his hand off, and he pulls it out, and like you see
the bone. You see there's a skeleton hand.
The bones hanging in there, and not even all the bones are there.
Yeah.
Just really like a great final splash page by an awesome artist who disappeared shortly after like the 6th or 7th issue, Martin England. I don't know what else he did, but man, I would love to get a commission sketch from him because he was the first person to do Aquaman with the harpoon hand.
Yeah,
like before he had that.
Because naturally, once your hand gets eaten, what do you replace it with?
Harpoon. Yeah, absolutely. There's no prosthesis in Atlantis. You just go with the nearest surface junk, and he had a harpoon. And
that's why we're talking. If you haven't checked out Zero Hour, it's actually a good read because you're talking. You got Aquaman with the harpoon arm. You've got my favorite Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner, right? You've got Superboy rocking the leather jacket in those issues. Like, come on.
About as 90s as it gets.
It doesn't get any more 90s than that. So.
And you got the Justice League, you got the Justice Society.
And that's when is that still when Superman's rocking the mullet, or is that later?
Yes. And because he deserved it for that terrible haircut, obviously, and hopefully we won't spoil this because most people probably read it. Parallax comes in and just clocks him and knocks him out, and that's how we determine that Hal Jordan isn't dead,
right?
And he can alter time.
That's so good.
So that was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked out Zero Hour, it's got to be on the DC app or Comixology, but you can, once quarantine lifts, you can easily find this in the back issues, and it's it's a fun read. So
fun read, absolutely, and great art by Dan Jurgens.
Mm-hmm. So who's next on our list? Because we're getting close to the end, right? We only got a couple left, right?
Well, I'll say let's. I'm going to shuffle the list around a little bit. I'm going to finish off with our final beard entry, and then we'll comment on a few stashes.
Oh, bonus material.
So you weren't familiar with this series. Really good finite series by Image, Curse Words. It's all about this crazy wizard named Wizord. Lives on this, kind of apocalyptic magic realm run by this like evil, crazy sorcerer, but the guy is funny. Everyone hates each other. There's magical creatures. It's all, there's this crew together. And Wizard's, he's kind of pompous. He's kind of like the man about town. Hey, I'm the man. I'm the best wizard. And he opens a portal to Earth, and then he gets stuck there. But he finds out that there's no magic on Earth. So he gets his magic from sapphires, I believe. He happens to have one in his staff. So he starts busting out magic on Earth. People love it. He's like the go-to guy. He's the hero. He's like, you kind of go to him for favors and stuff. The cool thing is his magic comes from his beard. And every time he uses his magic, beard gets a little bit shorter. When he gains more powers, thing goes long. So you got to see a lot of varying styles of facial hair. When he uses it all up, he's clean shaven. But, you might see him with a mustache. You might see him with a goatee, big grizzly beard. It's a lot of fun for anyone that has a beard or likes beards.
I need to check it out because, honestly, that just speaks to me. Like, because don't we all get our power from our beards?
We feel a little more powerful.
Right? Like, whenever I have to trim it up and it gets pretty short, like, it feels like a part of me is dying inside, right? Like, so I feel like I gain my power, like, from my beard, just like Samson gains his power from his hair, power from my beard. So I respect that. I gotta check that out. So that's from Image, right? And you said
absolutely, yeah, definitely check out Curse Words. The series is over. You can probably knock it out in a month. I think there might be 5 trades total. He's got a talking koala friend that changes into different animals. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Heavy on the humor too.
Great, man. That's fantastic. So is that I know we got some bonus, but is that it on our beards?
That's it for beards. But we do have a couple of mustache entries, and one from each who I feel are almost the mustache equivalents of the Marvel and DC universe. So we got, everyone knows, J. Jonah Jameson, the angry head of the Daily Bugle.
So good.
That's just an iconic mustache. It's changed quite a bit. Sometimes it goes out to the sides. Sometimes it's kind of more thick in the middle, but it's always there. I mean, you got a thick piece of hair on J. Jonah Jameson's lip.
And you don't talk about Spider-Man without talking about J. Jonah. Like,
absolutely.
Just like you don't talk about my boy Batman and don't talk about the Commissioner Gordon, whose mustache game is on point. And
James Gordon is not clean shaven ever. He shouldn't be.
No, he never should be. And you know what's crazy is I just realized this in the midst of us having this conversation. J.K. Simmons has played both J. Jonah and Commissioner Gordon.
Absolutely.
And rock the stash. Like, we brought it together full circle. Absolutely. Right there. And
that is a Marvel DC crossover that everyone will love right there.
And it's a Marvel DC cross. It's a mustache. See, facial hair brings people together.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure mustaches will beat the coronavirus.
That's right.
Somehow.
It's somehow, because they definitely said beards won't.
There's only one left on the list. Something I was saving a cover for too.
Let's see.
Why not end it with a bad guy? One of the most, I think, baddest villains in the DC universe, and a mustache you might not even think of.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sinestro. There we go.
Oh,
I mean, you heard that Jimmy Buffett song, Pencil Thin Mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sinestro's mustache game is tight, like literally tight. That thing, let's see if we can bring that in. You can barely see it. You think it would, it was just some shading. And this is an amazing cover.
It's a beauty. That's a thing of beauty.
Doug Mahnke. Doug Mahnke killed the Green Lantern art during Blackest Night and in the preceding chapters. He's one of my favorite pencilers. He's done some amazing work in comics. Just Sinestro has always had that tight mustache, like since he was introduced. Our guy, GA comic book guy, just dropped that showcase first appearance of Green Lantern. Sinestro appeared shortly after that with that tight mustache, like back in the 60s, maybe even before 50s.
Trying to think. I think
it's way back then.
It's back in the day. So let us know in the comments what date it is. Because that's at some point. And we know we left out. There are some fantastic beards. I know we strayed away a little bit with some mustaches. So people are gonna be like, "What about sideburns? Where's Wolverine?" And
no, absolutely not. Wolverine does not deserve a place on this list.
No, he doesn't.
Has crazy sideburns. And I did some research. Like, he was on a ton of people's lists. He just has these crazy chops that go down here. I'm sorry. Just sideburns are not facial hair.
No, because then we'll bring on Starburns from Community. Where he's
awesome reference. Fantastic reference. But I will tell you, and this was a look of mine that I enjoyed, with this stash that I had going on, at times I grew my burns into it, and that's what I call the chop stash. That does qualify, but I feel it must connect to the greater facial hair area. Long sideburns are not.
Because I did some research too, and I saw him on the list, and I'm like, nah, he's not gonna make. And I'm glad when you sent me your list and we were talking, I'm like, thank you. So I just wanted to put that out there because I knew people would instantly be Googling when every 5 people watch our video. Will be like, oh, what about this list says Wolverine?
No, maybe there's a notable sideburn list in comics, and Wolverine will make the top of that list every time, but he does not have a beard, which is odd for a man whose facial hair and body hair should not stop growing ever. Why is he always right here? Just nothing. He has just nothing in the middle.
Because literally, if you're going to shave anything with those claws, why are you going to go near your lip? Get the side. He should be having a goatee at the least.
But I think we hit on some pretty strong ones, you know, and even looking at the other stuff that I didn't share with you. I mean, there's the people that, you know, rocked a beard once or infrequently. You know, Superman's rocked a beard a few times.
And I know we threw some wild cards in there with the Batman and stuff.
Absolutely.
And there was a lot on some lists that were they're just not characters that I really want to talk about. So,
Yeah. And this is our list. This is
Right.
not anyone else's. You know, we did some research. We put the time in. You know, this is our own created list. You guys might have a completely different one. You know, I'd be interested to see what people's, you know, 10 different characters would be.
Exactly. So if you have made it this far in the video, thank you. And then next, comment your list below. Who did we leave out? Who would you have taken off? Who, whatever. Give us your list so we can compare. Because, yeah, we easily could have just taken a copy and paste from Google search of like, oh, the 10 best comic. And y'all would have been like, well, I wasted my time watching this. So, so yeah, let us know in the comments. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe, but more than any of that, comment so we can talk with you. We can interact. You can find us both on Instagram. I'm at Bearded Comic Bro and Boof.
At I Am Boof.
Okay. Both those links will be in the video description below. So make sure you guys follow us. If you don't want to comment on YouTube, comment on Instagram, whatever, like just chat, because when the world is talking about comics, it is a better place. With that being said, Comic Fam, again, joined by my boy, I Am Boof. I am the Bearded Comic Bro. Make sure you guys spend some time with your family, stay safe, and as always, curl up, grab a comic book, and nerd out.